You mentioned Europe there, so I'm going to move on to an issue which you're well aware the Ulster Wildlife Trust has been involved in. We have campaigned to protect the horse mussel or the Mussel reefs within Strangford Lough Special Area of Conservation. There will be considerable local and international interest in the restoration of these reefs. Can you outline your plans?
You know, the Ulster Wildlife Trust, by referring the matter back to Europe, concentrated people's minds in terms of the Mussel. And in particular concentrate the minds of government in order to deal with the matter unambiguously and definitively, and I hope that that's what we'll now have, an unambiguous definitive way of dealing with the Mussel. If we have in place the no fish zone in the middle part of the loch, and if we have the restoration plan in other parts of the loch, and if we protect the Mussel that exists, including the Mussel that we've discovered offshore as opposed within the loch, and if that is fully signed up to by DARD, because the DOE will certainly sign up to it, and I have to say that Michelle O'Neill's brought a different perspective to this issue than might have previously been the view that prevailed in DARD. Then on the far side of that, maybe some of the terrible damage that was done can be mitigated. That said, as we speak, there's now a new threat to the oyster fishing and to the Mussel and to a lot of the other life in the loch because of the sea squirt that has been discovered in one of the marinas. And unless we deal with that decisively and kill it off, because the spread and growth of the sea squirt and the way it suffocates the life of where it gathers means that you have to be constantly managing the loch and constantly aware that given it the scale of its designation, you need to be very protective of it, and when a threat arises, you need to deal with it decisively, which we didn't do in terms of the horse mussel, and we'll never be able to recover what we've lost, but hopefully we will learn from how we mishandled that over how many years.
And the restoration of the Mussel habitat has had many setbacks over the years, and it is critical, as you know, in achieving sustainable fisheries. What assurance can you give us that both departments are serious about the restoration work?
We're serious. The people who I have greatest respect for in the department, they're deadly serious. The people who were in with me yesterday showing me the DVDs of the sea squirt, they are deadly serious, if that's not a wrong word, but intensely serious that they will see the restoration plan delivered in the way that has been outlined, and they'll have full political support and from me for as long as I'm in. Clearly in DARD have had historically a somewhat different view, in my view, but I think that there has been a change of attitude and a change of understanding and a deeper commitment to do what is right in the loch in more recent times than it has been before. Yes, under threat of infection, but also I think because of a greater conviction that the need. But if I were people out there, I would judge us by results rather than judge us by ambition, because there was ambition before and it didn't prevail. But I want to make this wider point, and that is this, that the scale of the need to protect our environment and the importance of the environment and the risks to our environment means for me that as others plan to redesign and reconfigure government departments, in my view there needs to be a freestanding Department of Environment in order to assert the environmental interests, and that I'll not be agreeing to any reconfiguration of government, as some would have it, that sees DARD and environment merge I don't think that merger is the answer to the best management of the Strangford Lough. I believe that departmental separation is needed, as well as having independent oversight structures and management structures like the Marine Management Organisation and Independent Environment Agency. But I'm warning against any ambition that sees DARD taking the environmental responsibility. I wouldn't have sufficient confidence that that's the right model in terms of the shape of our government departments going forward. And that is an argument that's beginning to emerge as the shape of government departments begins to get negotiated out over the next number of months.
Do you believe that there will be adequate resources made available to make the restoration work happen in Strangford Lough?
If the officials who have been most intimately involved in bringing forward the restoration plan and developing the restoration plan, they will get the financial cover from me to fulfil the ambition of the restoration plan down there. There'll be no uncertainty around this. I'm going to have to spend probably not insignificant monies in dealing with the sea squirt issue. If I could broaden it a wee bit, down in Enniskillen there's a crannock, and that crannock was all but approaching destruction because of a road scheme. And I went down there at the beginning of August, put an exclusion zone around it because this was a wonderful part of our heritage. And whilst it should never have happened that it was ever under threat, once it was under threat and couldn't be saved, we needed to do the archaeology properly. They're still doing it. But it needed government to say, we are not, this is too important part of our heritage that we're going to put it in any greater risk. Let's do it right. It now happens that there's a second crannock down there. In recent days, they discovered a second one, probably in even more risky a state than the one that we're excavating there. So, in my view, there's parts of our heritage that need the resources, need the protection, need the resources, like the crannock in Enniskillen, because it's so rare and unique. And the horse mussel, similarly, it is such a vital part of the ecology there that, given what's happened historically, we can't put in any more risk. That's why if the officials say to me, you need to put money and resources and effort behind further protection restoration, just as the people said to me, you need to put money and resources and time around the restoration or the protection of that crannock, they'll get no argument from me.